All right, y'all. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live. We in the building, ready to bring you guys a fabulous show from the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio. To get into the discussion tonight, I'll give you the phone number on the other side, but we got a lot to get to. We're going to talk about what happened in Missouri. Of course, we know about the protests that led to the resignation of the school president. We're going to talk about it. We're going to ask, what the hell did this girl get kicked off the cheerleading squad for? Are you serious right now? Our brother Jay is going to ask about lovers and friends, and our sisters in the room, and we're going to talk about violence in pro athletics. We'll let you know who that sister is on the other side. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live, and it's right now.
It's about that time. It's about that time to get.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying, then they must be half stepping. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live, and we are in the building. Be down with us tonight by calling us at 804-402-2893. Be down with the flagship show right here live from the den. We're called Legacy Internet Radio. Thank you to everybody that's listening to us right now on your smartphone, tablet, or computer. You're listening to us on TuneIn, the application TuneIn. You may also be listening to us on Stream Licensing. We appreciate all of our affiliates and folks that help us put together the fastest growing internet station around the world. So we appreciate you folks. Thank you to everybody that's listening to the replays right now on YouTube. Like I said, it's because y'all check us out every single week on all our shows. It's the reason why we continue to do this. Thank you to our sponsors. You'll hear a word from all of them later on in the show. We got a lot to get to. We teased a little bit of it on the beginning intro before we got to our fabulous theme music. So for now, we're going to go around the room. We're going to get the participants in tonight's show in and introduce so that we can get to the show. 804-402-2893 is the number to dial if you want to be a part of the discussion. Every single second Monday of the month, you hear our sister Tony come up in this joint and fellowship with us. What's up, girl?
Hi there.
How you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
You doing all right, dog? You good? You chilling?
Yeah, I am. I'm good.
That's what it is. How come every time you come here, your hair is different?
It's called versatility.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
So, like, if you was a baseball player, you could hit left-handed and right-handed?
What?
Can you shoot free throws with your left hand and your right hand?
No.
Like if you was playing soccer, are you left-footed it or right-footed it?
Left foot. There's no such thing as left or right-footed. What are you talking about?
If you was like a punter, would you punt barefoot?
Crack toenail, how about?
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. You hear this brother join us here on the show every single week, man. It's my brother and my partner. It's my homeboy. My brother Jay is up in this joint. What's up, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Feeling good.
Feeling good? You all right?
Doing good. Got some surprises for some people coming in December.
Oh.
So y'all stay tuned and find out how y'all can win a $100 gift card and 2 tickets
Oh, man.
to see the musical Motown.
You always giving
In
away some
January.
stuff. I mean, are we eligible?
I was about to say that
Nobody eligible that works for this station.
I don't work for Legacy Internet Radio. I am just a friend, as he said of the
Only
show.
our
I'm just a
listeners.
friend.
Only our listeners.
Yeah,
This is for you.
I found myself way up under that bus. She threw me under the bus quick. She's like, you said the weird. I don't know him that well.
Yeah, y'all stay tuned. I got $100 gift card coming in December and 2 tickets to the musical that's going to be here live in Richmond, Virginia in January at Motown.
Motown. All right, that's going to be good, man. I look forward to hearing about it and hearing what folks are going to need to do to get that. So if you're listening right now, keep your ears on to the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio, heard right here live from the den every single Monday night from 7 p.m. Eastern until we finish talking. So thank you. We're going to move on and get right to the show. And Tony, you when you first walked in the door, you looked at me and you said, I just got to talk about it. I said, I just got an agenda. She was like, well, you have to move your agenda down. I was like, well, yes, ma'am. And so you can share with us and the listeners what we is about to talk about.
Okay, so every day I get to work and, I always pull up Bing because that's what I use as my search engine because I can get points. You get points for every time you search something.
Word.
So every day they have like top news stories on there. And last week, this story caught my eye that a former NFL player was convicted of 3 counts of murder.
Aaron Hernandez?
No.
Not
So
him?
this guy's name
Somebody
is
else?
Anthony Wayne Smith.
Okay.
And he actually was like an 11th round draft pick back in, I believe, 1990. He played with the Raiders for about 7 years. And then he opted not to renew his contract. Since that time, he has been accused of killing 4 people. And again, in court last week, he was convicted of 3 of those homicides. One of them got thrown out on a mistrial.
I think 3 is enough, though.
Yeah, it's about enough. But it was really disturbing because, my first thought was, maybe somebody tried to rob him or, something like that. Maybe it was self-defense. But the first 2 killings was actually a couple of brothers. It was 2 brothers. He kidnapped them, tortured them, and then shot and stabbed them. The third guy, that was in 1999. In 2001 is when he allegedly killed the guy number 3 that was thrown out on a mistrial. And then in 2008 is when he abducted and killed the 4th gentleman and dumped his body like out in the desert.
Is this dude like a serial killer or something?
Well, I think more than 3 makes you a serial killer, doesn't it?
Yeah, man. What
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now like, dude, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Dude is definitely a serial killer.
My goodness. So what was his deal? Like, I know with athletes a lot of times they are, you have to be, have to be dead for them to check your brain out. But they have this thing, I can't think of what it's called, but it's something like traumatic brain injuries that you get that cause you to just wild out and just do crazy stuff.
Yeah, there's actually a movie coming out about that. I
Is
think
it
it's
really?
called Concussion.
Will Smith.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
it's
Will
coming.
Smith. Yeah.
That's going to be horrible because he has the worst African accent. But anyway.
Do we know anything about this guy? Does it say anything about how he snapped and why he snapped?
Well, no. I mean, it said that, when he was playing, he was, a really nice guy, very, very charitable, did a lot with the community and kids, acting as a mentor. But I guess he got to the point where maybe he just felt like, he had all this money and maybe people were asking him for too much, or he felt that at some point, people were trying to take advantage of him. And, I know the 4th guy that he supposedly killed was like a mechanic. So, I don't know if maybe he thought that he was, trying to charge him too much or what have you. But, I mean, he didn't just kill these people. Like, he tortured the 2 brothers. It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I'm reading here, and it says the prosecutors already determined in November 2014 that Smith would not receive the death penalty. So he's basically just going to sit in prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
They're not even considering the death penalty. But he killed all these people, man. Like, and you're not even going to consider the death penalty?
It was probably something that was there are a lot of times in the pre-trial discussions, they make deals with the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorney, and they determine early on what will be on the table with regards to penalties
Right.
if a person is convicted of said crime. So that was probably some sort of negotiation.
Yeah.
The defense attorney probably gave something up,
Right.
and the prosecuting attorney probably said, okay, because you gave that up. I don't know if that alludes to it,
Right.
but that's probably what happened. Tony, when we were talking during the pre-show before we got started, one of the things that we were talking about, I threw Aaron Hernandez out because I wasn't sure exactly where you were going.
Yeah.
And what we did talk about was violence.
Right.
Violence in sports. And that's the reason why I asked if this guy had been diagnosed with anything. We seem to be hearing a lot of stories about violence in sports with regards to the participants, and we can get through some of the names. We'll do that, but before we do that, just any thought with regards to that? This dude killed a bunch of people. There's others that's beating up their girlfriends. This guy Aaron Hernandez is, and that's where I thought you were going. And he actually, if I'm not mistaken, is awaiting trial for murder. I mean, you're a football fan, semi-football fan. I mean, you claim to like the Bumblebee team.
Don't get smacked on air.
Oh, damn.
Terrible.
It said smacked on air.
With a mic.
Yes. But, I mean, do you think there's something going on? I mean, is there something that maybe they all are kind of wired to have, or is it just the coincidence of these crazies?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you have to look at each case individually. I do think there is, though, some merit to the effect that, multiple, I guess, head-to-head contact instances has on people. And that's with anyone. You don't have to play a sport, if you to sustain head trauma that can affect you for life. But I don't know. I can't remember the guy's name, but he, killed his, I think, ex-girlfriend and their 2-year-old.
Rake Ruth.
No. That was the one. She was still pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
This was last year.
Okay.
This guy, I can't remember if I think he was a football player,
He
but
killed her?
he killed his ex-girlfriend and his 1.5-year-old child. Shot both of them. So.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. I do
Yeah.
remember that.
Crazy.
He was like an O lineman, I think. I do remember that vaguely. I can't remember the guy's name.
I can't remember
but
the
I,
name either,
I
but-
vaguely remember him.
But yeah, I mean, each
Kansas City. That's what it was. He played for Kansas City.
Yeah, each case is is different, but you have to look at Ray Caruth. I mean, look at his motive. Well, supposedly what his motive was. He didn't want to have to pay child support and such. But these guys, what causes anybody to snap and kill somebody? Short of self-defense. Excluding that. But you look at all the other cases that are going on right now. Greg Hardy,
Right.
Peterson dude,
Adrian Peterson.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. Greg Hardy, Jay. Greg Hardy, we know, was the football player for the Carolina Panthers at the time, and he got into it with his girlfriend, and he basically beat her up and dragged her around the house, threatened to kill her. I mean, it was pretty bad stuff.
Right.
He was convicted in a bench trial,
Right.
and he appealed the conviction, and upon appeal he was granted a jury trial because that was his right based on the state that this happened in, and the victim never showed up, and it was thrown out.
Right.
And because it was thrown out, his conviction was also thrown out. Now, he actually was given a 7-game suspension by the National Football League. He was released by the Carolina Panthers, and in that 7-game suspension, he appealed it because the NFL had shown that they were given 4-game suspensions for violations of the moral code or whatever it is. Someone correct me if you're listening, you know what it is. But there's some sort of code in the NFL. If you do something stupid, you get 4 games.
Right.
And so it was reduced to 4 games, and Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys ended up signing him. And the irony, I don't even know if irony is the right word, but he sat out 4 games. He's played 4 games. And even only having played 4 games, he is the star of the defense. He's already got more tackles and sacks than anybody who was on the Dallas Cowboys for 8 games.
Right.
And so there is some merit, I guess some would say, to folks being allowed to play because they can play,
Right.
versus folks not being allowed to play because they can't. I don't see anybody rushing to sign Ray Rice.
Right.
So what's your thoughts on this, man? I mean, is there, I guess let me ask you a question. I haven't asked a question. The question I'm asking is it okay to have morality issues with regards to violence and be allowed to play? Should these folks be banned forever, or should they be allowed to play after having served their suspensions?
I think the punishment should fit the crime. It depends on how severe, the incident is. In his case, it was battering his girlfriend or wife or what it is. He served his time in the NFL. They gave him a suspension and he's back. But it's a tricky situation because certain people, certain groups and stuff don't forgive people. We know that from the Michael Vick situation. But I think at the end of the day, when it comes to like football and stuff, they don't care. It's all about wins for them. Right. It's all about wins. And with Ray Rice situation, eventually when somebody really, really need a running back, they'll pick him up.
Okay. Miss Tony, what you think about this? The question being, should they be allowed to play now that their suspension has been fulfilled and the legal issue has been dealt with? Should they be allowed to play?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jay. The punishment should fit the crime. If those are the rules and, he's done his penance, then he should be able to play if that's what they will allow. But they have to have the same rules for everyone. It can't just be certain people. If you're going to let him do it, let him sit out his 4 games. Next guy does it, let him do the same thing. I think a lot of times people forget that they're human beings too. They're not perfect just because they're, athletes or because they're famous. They're human just like we are. And, none of us is perfect and we all make mistakes. So it's just a matter of, keeping that in perspective that, this guy is, he's a great football player, but he's a woman beater.
Right. And I have Steppin with Marcus J. Our sister Dee is checking in. She's saying what's up to the crew.
Hey, Dee.
She's not in studio with us tonight, but she's definitely listening in. But who is in studio tonight just flipped in the door as we were getting through the basics, setting up the show. Of course, you hear this brother whenever he feel like coming in here, and tonight he felt like joining us. Our brother Big Bro Joe is up in this joint. What's up, man?
Hey, good afternoon. Well, good evening. Good evening. How y'all folks doing today?
Doing good, man.
Brother.
You listening to the story. I'm going to throw you right in the fire. Greg Hardy's playing football right now. Ray Rice is not playing football right now, but they are both eligible to play. Should they? They are both known women beaters, both of them. What's your thoughts?
Politics. I think it's all politics. And honestly, I will never, ever sit there and condone anyone putting their hands on anyone, first and foremost. I mean, circumstances be damned. I've sit there and listened to the commentators. I've sit there and watched them sit there and talk to you all about, well, these are big, strong, healthy football players, da-da-da-da-da, and this is what they did. Okay, well, if you go back and look at the video from Ray Rice, the chick put her hands on him first. I was always taught, and my mother taught me this, was if everybody keep their hands in their pockets, nobody has to suffer the consequences for anything at all. I'm not that guy who's going to sit here and tell you that I believe that, no, you shouldn't hit a woman. Damn that. Keep your hands to yourself, and then you won't make me put myself in a position to have to defend me. Now, you can say, oh, you can grab them, you can do this, you can do that. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that something is really funny. The photographs that you saw from Harding didn't happen in the square that night because it was a lot of us in Charlotte in the square that night. One of his teammates was right there with him. One of the top teammates, or the top teammate, was actually there in the square in the middle of Charlotte that night when all of this stuff happened. So the pictures that they showed, I'm not going to say that he didn't, but what I'm going to say is when the incident itself broke out, she looked kind of good. But you know what? Another thing for me is if you pay, and this is just if I'm able to pay you to keep quiet, then really was anything wrong with you to begin with, or is this all just more of a publicity thing to boost that? Like I said, I believe turnabout is fair play. Everybody keep your hands in your pocket, and guess what? Nobody has to worry about nobody hitting nobody.
I can dig it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. There's definitely some merit to that thought process. But my only caveat is, if a mouse beats on an elephant, should the elephant step on it? It's my point. And I think that there needs to be a level of understanding that you don't kill a fly with a hammer.
Right. Why?
Why would you kill a fly with a hammer?
Why not?
It's
if
not
the hammer is the only thing I have to hit it with, guess what?
I got you on that, but it's not necessary.
Well, what necessary is everybody keep your hands to yourself.
I got
you never have to worry about that to begin with.
I'm
not going to sit there and say that he was right. What I'm not going to sit there and say, though, is that he was wrong for protecting you, backing up off and getting people up off.
Let me simplify it for everybody, because what you're saying, and just in my opinion, is that the level of force that is used towards this person who hit you is to be determined by you as the person that was just hit. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment of what you say?
Fair assessment.
Using that logic, then the girl who got thrown out of the chair in the classroom got what she deserved because she was defiant and she defied the rules of the classroom.
She never put her hands on him.
She didn't put her hands on him, but she was.
No, that's not the same level of use. And you do realize that if you're going to use that argument, that police officers always have the right to escalate above what you believe. So that, to me, been there, done that too.
No, I hear you on that. But what it sounds to me like what you're saying is it doesn't matter the difference between the two people with regards to the level of force that I use. If I come at you and I take a shot at you, you get to basically destroy me and put me in the hospital just because I just hit you. I didn't hurt you. I just hit you.
Did you? But see, you took that upon yourself. You put yourself in the position to get that whooping that you got, regardless of. Now, I understand what you're saying. I guess me being me, I've been put in a position where I've always been called. I mean, you look at my size. I've been called a bully all of my life. First of all, because I am my size. My size has nothing to do with my demeanor. I can be the nicest person in the world. If you walk up to me and slap me in my face and we sitting there doing nothing, guess what? Any rage that I get for you slapping me in my face is all built on you.
All right. Dee Dee is still listening, and she's got a question for you. She says, first of all, she says, yo, Joe. So she's saying hey to you. But what then she says that she's shocked. She said, how can you say a grown man that you're protecting yourself from a woman?
Here we go again. What does me being a grown man, or what does a grown man have to do? Like I said, you know what? Women have been getting away with that argument forever and a day. But my sister sits here. She sitting across. She wanted to holler in on
Tony,
that.
jump in.
Okay. It's funny because my significant other and I were having this same conversation yesterday. My mother taught me as a young girl, if you put your hands on a man, expect him to hit you back. She taught me to always defend myself. And I don't think it's right. Domestic violence is not right either way. But I know that as a young girl, a teenager, and even as a grown woman, I just swung on a few dudes that I was in relationships with. That's not okay, but it happens. But again, just like Joe said, if you hit someone, be ready for the consequences. Period. If you can't handle it, keep your hands to yourself.
Let me just ask a question, LB. You made that statement, and Didi, you made that statement, and Tony, thank you very much. Like I said, don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not saying that it's right. None of it is right. It's not right to go beating up on anybody, period.
Right.
But I know we've all seen Facebook posts, and I could pull one up real quick. The dude was sitting in the chair, just sitting there. Now, him and the young lady had had some confrontation, some words, blah, 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 blah. She hauls off and just starts to whoop the fire. And this cat is still sitting in the chair until he had enough, and he got up to try to move, and she hit him with the chair. What am I supposed to? You know what? That turned the whole other cheek shit.
No, I got you. I mean, but I don't think that's really what we're talking about here. You know what I mean? I think. Because the truth of the matter is, when we're talking about domestic violence, the woman that is so aggressive that she deserved to get her ass whooped is a minority when we're talking about domestic violence. Because because I have made this point, if you're dealing with that, then she get what she get because she's coming at you so aggressively that she's trying to really, really hurt you.
Okay.
If
You
we're
have a right
talking
to
about
defend yourself.
you have a right to defend yourself, and I teach my daughter, Mama J, to defend herself if someone comes at her and never put her hands on anybody. But if someone puts their hands on her, as Malcolm X would say, send them to the cemetery. That's how you do that.
Yeah.
And that's very, very simple.
But you know what? Go ahead. And I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, go ahead.
You made the point that I think you were making is we don't know the whole gist of the story that came out of that Greg Hardy situation. It's a whole lot of backstory. And like I said, being in Charlotte at the time, it's a lot of backstory behind that too. Number one, it was already put out there during the CIAA tournament. This young lady was hanging out with Nelly, and visually we saw this.
What's that have to do with anything?
Well, because she was supposed to be with Greg Hardy at the time, and it was some words passed between Nelly and Greg Hardy at one of the clubs in Charlotte during CIAA. Yeah, but see, nobody said anything about that. Then
Still
she
not
said,
understanding what that has to do with
well,
anything.
like I said, there's a lot of backstory. People do stuff in the dark and expect to cry wolf in the light.
Right.
I can dig it.
Rihanna.
That's the same. Yeah, but just about to say that. My man, I got a homeboy that do bodyguard for Chris Brown. Well, used to do bodyguard for Chris Brown. So it's a lot of backstory on that whole incident. So I mean, it comes to a point where a dude do get tired.
Well, you also know, and here's some real talk that I know that you two loser ass Cowboy fans could attest to. That if we in a pile and I do something and you retaliate and you get hit with the flag, you're the one that's wrong.
Oh yeah. I mean, of course, if the ref don't see it, it didn't happen, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That don't work that works in the court of public opinion.
It works in the court of opinion, but and I basically only really made that point to just kind of take a shot at y'all.
But you know we didn't bait that.
It's all good. First of all, let me give a shout out to our sister Melanie is checking in the Shy. What's up, Melanie? Thank you for listening. She said she was going to listen tonight. She's here. If you hear something tonight, make sure you get in on the discussion. 804-402-2893. I'm gonna put a bow on this. I'm gonna move on to other stuff, but I guess I'm woman friendly when it comes to this kind of stuff. And even as a dude, it's not a big dude. I mean, if a chick wants to swing on me, that's something that I would have to really, really be thinking about with regards to the level of force that I return, because I always know that I gotta defend myself, obviously, but chances are it's a good bet that even if she's bigger than me, I could probably take her. I could probably really hurt her if I want to. You know what I mean? And I don't want to do that. I'm going to return the amount of force necessary to diffuse the situation. And I have a problem with what I saw in that elevator with Ray Rice, because in my opinion, and this is just one man's opinion, my opinion, there was too much force returned. There was just too much force returned, and the video, or I should say, the photographs that I saw with Greg Hardy, coupled with the information that we know. We can't go off of the backstory stuff. I mean, all that's cool. It sounds good. It sounds like it's defending the dude. That's what y'all doing. Cool. That's what y'all doing. But the backstory stuff means nothing when he had a trial that he was expunged. No. Let's if we're gonna say that, then we're gonna say what really happened. It was expunged because she didn't show up.
But because she got paid and she didn't show up. That's why I said you can cry wolf all day long. You know what? A true woman would have stood up for her rights and brought her monkey ass to court and took her day in court, dude.
Some would, but some would. But you know what though? Okay, she took a punk way, but everybody's not an upstanding. Everybody's not an upstanding citizen like Big Bro Joe. There are some people. How many times have we heard back when we were younger? Yo, would you let Mike Tyson punch you in the face for $1 million?
No way.
You know what I mean? Like, we heard that. Come on, man. Yeah. And we would have discussions in the barbershop in the backyard about how we would or we wouldn't do it. So basically, this chick took an ass whooping for some money.
Pretty much.
Okay. That's what she did.
But that doesn't mean.
So don't come back.
But that doesn't mean that she didn't get her ass whooped, though.
I never said she didn't get her ass whooped.
Okay.
I said she got her ass whooped. But why?
All right. I mean, again, You know,
Nobody wants to go back to the why. And you know what? Wrong is wrong. And you can say level of force. You can say amount to stop the threat. You know what? That sounds like them boys in blue right now.
No, I no. See, I agree with that assessment, because when you roll up on someone, it's similar. You know, a dude. You know, a 6'5", 280-pound dude beating up a little girl just because she hit him once, to me, is very similar to the police shooting an unarmed black man because he cussed him out.
Really?
You know, to me, it's very similar.
Really?
And I think it's fair to make the point. Dee, she's agreeing that no woman should hit a man just because she's angry. I don't think that we're going to agree on this, but this isn't a discussion that we are going to leave here forever. We've had it in the past, you and I, and we will. And we got daughters.
Oh,
right.
You got
Hey,
daughters.
you know how I feel about that.
I got a daughter.
Taught mine
you know
how to
what I mean?
Yep,
And hey, my daughter is a black belt
15,
in Taekwondo, and she could probably kick.
My daughter wear a black belt.
Yeah, my daughter could kick some ass
She
if
also
she need to.
5'12".
My question
There we go
is
with
about
that.
this whole thing. If none of these people, do you think, like, when it comes to like domestic violence, do celebrities get off more than regular people when it comes to domestic violence?
I think the celebrities get pulled into the spotlight, and I believe specific folks get off.
Okay.
I believe that a lot of people get drugged through the mill, and I think if they're high profile enough, they get it skirted to the side.
Right.
I think a lot of them get off because they have the attorneys that allow them to get off.
They know how to
Priscilla
present
is
the
listening
case.
to us in Jersey City. What up, Priscilla? She's saying that a lot of domestic violence victims do go through it with I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading. This is my fault. She says a lot of domestic violence victims do go through it because they love their alleged abuser. They don't want to see someone they love go to jail. So there definitely could potentially be an element to that, but I think in the case of this woman that's been going through it with Greg Hardy, we don't know what provoked him, why he did what he did. We think we might know. We think that she might have come after him, but at the end of the day, I guess what I have issues with is a man that would do that to a woman based upon anything other than her putting her hands on him.
Right.
But people always, when you hear domestic violence, you immediately think a man hitting a woman. There are so many men who are abused by women.
Lionel Richie.
When I was in high school, we had a family friend whose wife beat him every single day.
Yeah.
But what man is going to go to the police and say, my wife beats me?
Me, I got to. Because if I hit her back, then I get blamed like I'm being, like I get accused.
He just pointed at me.
Yeah, I pointed at Marcus.
He pointed at me.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot this was.
Well, we know Lionel. We know.
The only thing you forgot is that I will call you out. That's the only thing you
Lionel
forgot.
Richie been through this.
Right.
You know, his wife.
Yeah.
You know, he been through
Yeah.
it. You know, his wife beating him. You know, he went to the police.
I mean, wait a minute. I'm looking at. She got a bruise on the bottom of her foot. What do you do? Pick up and hit on the bottom of the foot?
Yeah, she got bruises on her face and neck
Man,
and chest
I
as
saw
well.
that.
So,
On the bottom of her foot.
maybe that's from when she was
That's
trying.
a fetish.
And supposedly there was some on her back, which what if he was trying to restrain her from swinging on him?
Yep.
On her back.
Yes,
If you grab a
against the
person-
wall, like stop.
Stop. Yeah, you can grab. Now, don't get it twisted. You can grab a person and they bruise easily.
I think
she's Caucasian.
What I'm thinking, and
Oh,
I gotta
that's
be honest.
why.
I gotta be honest
Ding,
with
ding.
y'all.
That's why.
Where I'm having trouble is there seems to be all this sympathy in this discussion for the man who beat up this woman with regards to the benefit of the doubt. Like, we're giving her the benefit of the doubt in the course of this discussion, where there's no benefit of the doubt that's given to it's being given to him, I should say, where there's none being given to the possibility that she might just be getting her ass beat by a savage dude.
Right.
But none of us is saying that's okay. What we're saying is that to make that statement, it's never okay to hit a woman, that you can't make that blanket statement. You just can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I feel what you're saying, LB. I still have to go back to one key point.
What is that?
When you have your day in court
Right.
to vindicate yourself,
Right.
to stop a would-be woman beater, put him in jail, where he up there with Bubba and somebody else is who his size, and you go smacking on him and see what happened, and you don't. you lose all credibility with me right then. And I understand what you're saying, but you know what? When you can be paid off for your beliefs or what you lack thereof,
where's your integrity?
Then
lose all your more.
Where's the integrity that you supposed to that you carry?
Yo, when money comes into play, anything is possible, man.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, when money money can sweep anything under the table,
and it has.
Yeah, exactly.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. We appreciate those folks that are listening to us. If you want to call and be a part of the discussion, the phone number is 804-402-2893. That is the number to dial and get this last comment in from our sister Priscilla, and then I am going to have us move on to another discussion. But she says, working with domestic violence victims day in and day out, you'd be surprised how many men file for restraining orders. Some of these women out here are all sorts of crazy. So she is definitely validating the things
all women are crazy.
that Tony and Big Bro Joe is saying. And as a woman, she is validating what most men already know, that y'all chicks is crazy. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. We getting a hit in social media from our sister S.Y. Butler, who's the co-host and associate of this show. She is saying, hey, family, and letting us know that she is, in fact, listening in to the discussion tonight. So I want to move on. Tony, I want you in on this next one first. I'm getting this one from our local WTVR.com affiliate. It's about a cheerleader that kicked off the squad